And you can just say next, and I'll click the slides forward for you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Ronnie Doxine. I'm the Director of Operations at CMHA Lambton, Kent. And I'm here with Brianna Dabowski, and Brianna is the project lead, and she's going to lead us through the presentation.
Morning, everybody. So the project that we have been working with our coaches has been related to our Client and Family Advisory Panel. Next slide, please. So I myself have kind of been the lead putting things together, as well as the meeting chair. Vicki Fox has been helping for administrative tasks with note-taking. Stephen Mitchell, who isn't here today, has been working with us for data collection. Myself and my counterpart from our Chatham site have been working together in terms of the clinical piece. And Ronnie has kind of been the overall administrative expert as well as a sponsorship for this project. Next slide. So why did we seek E-QIP support? So overall, we had already started putting together a client and family advisory panel. So we were hoping to really solidify that project and making sure that we were improving the client and family care experience here at CMHA Lambton, Kent. So we are hoping that E-QIP could help us with linking to existing functional programs that were already working to engage clients and families in care. Looking to review a mode of best practice, as well as making sure that what we were doing was considered optimal, helping us direct to applicable resources that already may be developed, looking towards gathering advice to creation of our annual work plan to make sure that what we were doing within our first year was realistic, and to ask for assistance with determining metrics that would help us measure success. Next slide. So overall, we really wanted to help focus on sustainability and effectiveness of making sure that the panel and clients and family members were helping us work collaboratively to make sure that we were providing high quality client and family centered care and making sure that we could enhance further initiatives for quality improvement. So primarily with our coaches, we are focusing on our review of best practice, creation and development of a work plan. A large amount of our focus has been on recruitment and sustainability, and looking at measurements of outcomes and or impacts of the actual panel. Next slide. So in terms of deliverables and outcomes, we've done a lot of work with the group, which has been super awesome. So we've been able to create a work plan to help us focus on our objectives of the actual panel overall, as well as looking at goals for the actual client and family advisory panel itself. We've been able to increase presence on our website through social media. We've been able to create a tab on our website that's provided information to anyone accessing our website about application, roles and responsibilities of client and family advisory panel members, as well as just general information about the panel. We've been able to look at process mapping to create a map for both incident management as well as overall reporting process between the client and family advisory panel, our agency, and the overall board. We've been able to provide education sessions to both sites to making sure that they have the awareness about the importance of integration of client and family engagement, as well as other education sessions on what we've been doing with E-QIP and how our work has been progressing. We've been able to create a recruitment matrix to help us identify the needs of our client and family advisory panel members, as well as to try to engage staff in further ongoing recruitment. Next slide. We've been able to create surveys for both staff and panel members to look at gathering feedback for overall general impact, as well as specific tasks that we have been working on through things like program reviews and program evaluations. We've been able to look at recruitment of not only panel members, but the creation of an advisory role for those who may not necessarily be suited for the actual panel, but still would like to be involved in quality initiatives throughout the agency. We've been able to create a standardized orientation for new members to help with training at the beginning of the creation of the panel. We've created a terms of reference. For the Sarnia site, we've been able to select a co-chair, and we're looking at being able to select a co-chair for the Chatham site as well. We've created a client and family advisory symbol, which has been placed on anything that the client and family advisory panel has been reviewed or has had any involvement with. And we now have 2 fully operational panels, both on our Sarnia and Chatham site. Next slide. So overall, we have had some challenges. The challenge itself that we've kind of presented with E-QIP was unique, as there isn't a lot of agencies out there undertaking similar initiatives to exactly what we were doing with the Client and Family Advisory Panel. The biggest piece that we've struggled with on and off is initial recruitment and ongoing recruitment. What we've come across is, in terms of balance, so far on the Sarnia site, our panel here is primarily family-based, whereas our panel in the Chatham site is primarily client-based. Coordinating times for everyone is usually just a struggle, but it has been difficult because we have two sites, being able to kind of connect and set aside those times to meet and get everything worked on. Again, our recruitment plan to make sure that we can sustain this ongoing for the future has been a bit of a challenge. Initially, we have had some struggle in terms of getting buy-in from staff, looking at the recruitment process and understanding exactly what the role of the panel is, who we're looking for, and why we're looking for specific individuals for the Client and Family Advisory Panel. Establishing a way to make sure that we can measure the impact has been a bit of a challenge. We have created surveys that we're looking at being able to put out to both staff and Client and Family Advisory Panels quite shortly. And the biggest ongoing challenge will be making sure that we can maintain a constant membership for the panel, as well as making sure that we can look at ongoing recruitment to ensure the sustainability piece of the actual panel. Next slide. So some of the lessons learned, the biggest thing for me and the rest of the members have been just the fact that we could create an advisory panel that not all mental health agencies have, and making sure that we truly are working towards increasing engagement and collaboration, not only for service delivery, but quality initiatives by the actual individuals and family members who are accessing services. So the biggest help has been the fact that the whole team has been really committed in making sure that we can work forward and towards further development. And the engagement and interest from the actual panel members has been outstanding, has really helped make sure that we can push the team forward to continue the work that we're trying to do. Providing staff with education has also been helpful to make sure that we have the full buy-in of everyone in the agency, and making sure that the awareness and that new conversation and culture has been developed of increasing involvement of client and family members throughout everything that we do here at CMHA Lambton Kent. And the biggest thing is making sure that we have that established work plan to keep us on check and making sure that we can track our progress. Next slide. So if we can go back and do something differently from the beginning, I think the utilization of the recruitment matrix would be extremely helpful in making sure that we could find client and family advisory panel members with specific with specific characteristics and skills, and also really help in terms of buy-in from staff to help explain why we're looking for specific individuals, whether it be from different communities around our agencies or having specific skills and characteristics. Being able to train both sites at the same time would have been a lot less time-consuming, as well as making sure that we could run them both at the same time and have kind of that less lull in looking at developing both sites. And the fact that we could use advisors as well as panel members, I think if we could have done that from the beginning, would have been helpful in terms of our recruitment process. So how this has impacted us at CMHA Lambton Kent beyond the project team, it really has helped increase the agency and staff's understanding of incorporating client and family voice in more than just direct service provision. And it's helped in terms of being able to provide mentorship to other agencies. I have been able to connect with a few other agencies around us in terms of giving them information who are looking to create initiatives for involving client and family members. It's also helped staff to encourage them to identify other quality initiatives that may not necessarily fit the typical standard quality initiative issue framework. And it really has helped in terms of increasing involvement, awareness, and understanding for staff, clients, and family members about the foundations and aspects of quality in general. Next slide. So our next step to progress improvement is looking at continuing further development and our continuous focus on recruitment itself. We're hoping to include testimonials and maybe write-up of family members on our actual website to really kind of hammer home that presence in our social media. A big part will be collecting and assessing the feedback that we'll be getting from the surveys that we hope to hand out shortly, and making sure that we're creating a standard series of orientation times throughout the year, so that way through ongoing rolling recruitment, we have those standard orientation times to just continually make sure that people are up to date and trained and ready to go for the panel. and really looking at collaboration with a client and family advisory panel to make sure that they can give us further inputs regarding any aspects of our agency. So one thing that we're looking at to see is if there's anything that they can give us feedback-wise, or whether it be a presence through questions or anything for prospective employees through the hiring process. Next slide. So how has this work helped us prepare for future QI projects? It really has provided an awareness of the quality process and increased the understanding of quality framework by having other staff involved, as well as having client and family members involved. And also through the process, there's been a recognition that there is the inclusion of different perspectives from staff, clients, and families that really help improve outcomes of care. So to kind of wrap it up, who would benefit from our learning and how we're going to share with them? I kind of already touched on this, but any other community health organizations looking to increase the involvement of client and families in their service delivery, providing a support to governance and program creation and development. And even at this early point, like I said, we've been able to share some of our experiences through connecting with local agencies to provide them information about things that we found helpful, things that we found challenging, and any kind of policies or anything that we've been able to create that could possibly help someone further their steps in creating a client and family advisory panel at their agency. Next slide.
We'll just invite folks now, if you have any questions or comments, you can either type it into the chat box, or if you are able to unmute your phone, you can do so. I just want to say, fantastic work. I know this is a great example of the non-project coaching support through E-QIP. So rather than doing a traditional QI project, it's that general support that I think manifested in something very meaningful. And you guys did a tremendous amount of work, I think, to really, we talk about involving clients and persons with lived experience in quality improvement. You really took that and ran with it, and I think it left something pretty amazing. And as you said, it's great to hear that the spread is already happening with mentorship with other agencies. That's really fantastic. I was wondering if you could elaborate a little bit on the recruitment matrix that you talked about, and what that looks like or includes.
Yeah, so we've been able to myself and Ronnie, as well as present it to the client and family advisory panel, have sat to figure out important characteristics or things that we should look at in terms of demographics that our agency provides services to make sure that we have that representation on the client and family advisory panel. Some things that we've identified specifically for us is making sure that we're looking at a mix between both rural and urban, as well as specific members possibly from any of our surrounding Indigenous communities around us, as well as looking, having a youth perspective, possibly looking at recruiting anyone with geriatric experience, both client and family member experience, looking at things like education background, training background, any kind of volunteer experience, any kind of specific skills that may be beneficial to the client and family advisory panel, things like prior quality knowledge, any kind of information or knowledge about risk management or business management. So just being able to create that checklist for us, so that way we can identify what skills and characteristics the panel currently already has. And in terms when the term that the client and family advisory panel member may be starting to shift, looking at being able to recruit somebody that would fulfill those needs when that person leaves, or if there is a gap in what we're looking at in terms of recruitment.
Thanks so much. Again, I think there's a tremendous opportunity for spreading this learning. I would encourage you guys to think about opportunities like a health quality transformation conference, or patient safety forum by Health Quality Ontario in future, because this would make a fantastic presentation or a poster. Because you go to a lot of these things and you hear again that we want to involve clients, but you guys have really taken that and put it to action. So amazing work.
Thank you. It was great working with the project. We got a lot out of it, and I think it moved us forward a lot quicker than we would have in isolation.
Thanks. Well, I don't see any other questions on the board, but thank you so much for taking the time. And we'll now move along